Hi, it's Joe, and today I'm going to be watching Secret Invasion Season 1, Episode 6, Home. This is the finale of this season. I have no idea if this show is intended to be like one and done or if there are going to be more. I am intrigued to see how it ends. I have been honest, I haven't loved this show. I also haven't hated the show. It's just been kind of a bit, for me. But apparently that is a very unpopular opinion, which I'm thrilled about because I hope I'm just in the minority whenever I don't enjoy something. I was really looking forward to this show as well, which is probably part of why I'm so disappointed. But I was very negative. I have also enjoyed it, and I am intrigued to see where it goes in this finale, and, you know, I hope this isn't the last time we're going to see some of these characters that have been introduced. So yes, let's go. You can find the unedited version of this reaction to all of my reactions on my Patreon, and let's go.
First time you called this number in years.
I have dialed this number.
He was worried about her. Fury's back! Murder and scrolls. I mean, yeah, they were like scrolls guarding for graphics, so like they weren't innocent, but they also, you know, just murdered straight away.
Confirm that this was in fact an official Russian act.
Yeah, you need to make sure.
Orchestrated by the Skrulls and the Russians who are giving them safe haven. Our commander-in-chief is still nursing internal injuries.
I'm sorry, for the level, I mean, I know that this isn't Rhodey, and I know that this is a Skrull masquerading as him and trying to get us to go to war, but also, like, what she's saying is true. Given the consequences of this, you cannot go to war without 100%, 1000% checking 7 times and then checking 7 more times to make sure it's the right thing, given the consequences of if you do this thing. Like, again, I fully understand that if this was actually just like Rhodey or an ordinary dude, I would be so mad at him, but I was like, come on, Mr. President, don't be dumb.
Attempt that he barely survived.
What colour tie do you wear?
So unless you have some, prepare a rough copy of your remarks to the nation. The American people need to hear from you, sir.
This Rhodey is really going hard. Like, Skrull Rhodey is really pushing very hard. You know, he's not really being diplomatic or realistic in any of how he's approaching it. Maybe this is how governments are run. I obviously don't know. Like, Russians amassing tanks or whatever, I feel like they probably would do that if they were concerned America was going to attack them because of a thing that America thinks they did. You know? Got to posture and show you're ready for it. Like, it doesn't prove anything. I mean, America, given everything, what I would say would be a realistic response would be for America and its allies to be on alert, to have armies mobilized, like, ready to go, but not to start until you've checked 1,000 times and ruled out every other possibility.
Fury's lost it. He wants Ritson stopped before the bomb is launched.
What's her plan to get Rhodey out of the way? Good, we need to neutralize Rhodey Skrull. And like, does this mean Rhodey's dead? Because again, that's really sad. Please say he's somehow done something. Oh, are these like anti-radiation tablets? What is?
Never would have thought your last 20 minutes on Earth would be spent down there having a drink with me. You see
these aren't Fury's last 20 minutes.
Backup plan. Your Avengers on standby. What about that invisible cloak and shield?
His Avengers and people should be on back.
Yes, sir. This was the first human I killed. And you know why I killed him? I killed him because you told me to. The one who promised us a home. But
what have you done to get them a home?
This you really should have kept your promise.
You're right. You're right.
The acting is out of this world.
In a few years of searching, that there was no other planet out there for you.
Okay, then you should have come clean.
The way for me to keep my end, because it's easier to save the lives of 8 billion people than it is to change their hearts and minds.
That doesn't mean it's right. Sometimes you have to fight for what's right even when it isn't easy. Did you try? Again, Talos, rest in peace. Gravik's response is extreme and too much, but...
You take your powers, go to some other planet.
Jesus!
Some other species, I don't give a damn. Just leave.
This is a desperate play. What is his actual plan?
And leave it now.
He's not actually dying of radiation sickness, right?
Give me your gun, goddammit.
I think the Secret Service agent, even with a bad arm, is better equipped to protect you than you are, sir. What's the plan? Is it gonna hit them both? Are they both superpowered now, or was it only, did it only change the scrolls? I guess it's programmed to only affect scroll DNA. Nope, it's affected them both. It was a scroll the whole time? I'm glad there was a plan! I really hope we see more of Gaia. I like this plan. So the machine was only programmed to alter scrolls, and he assumed that was Fury, so therefore Fury wouldn't change. And then Gaia did get even more powerful, because I'm here for that, times 1,000. Also, I hope we see her in future Marvel things. And then it's also kind of funny, because first, Gravik is somebody who has used the like trick of it's a scroll pretending to be somebody else throughout, like Rhodey's currently doing it, and to have it done played on him is also kind of quite satisfying. So they're both like infinitely powerful, right? Like more powerful than any of the Avengers, because they're all of the Avengers level of power, or at least bits of them. Come on, Gaia.
He is a Skrull. If you don't call off the strike, you're going to kill the man he's replicating along with some of the world's greatest minds.
Of course, yeah, they've got Rhodey in their bunker, where Rhodey's gonna be okay. We can get Rhodey back.
Please tell me this isn't true.
Are you listening to this insanity? Of course it isn't true.
Chop his finger off. That's what she's been doing all the time. We don't have much fucking time. I mean, like, seriously, America as well. Like, I know there was an assassination attempt on the president, and obviously that is very bad. The response is then nukes. Again, I feel like the world is currently teetering on the edge of a nuclear apocalypse, but like, what? That should be on. Why? Oh, Gaia!
Sleep.
She is OP!
For Christ's sake, Rickson, what have you
Like,
got to lose?
seriously overpowered. I'm here for it.
Delayed.
Maybe this when they're both overpowered. She did the superhero landing. I still don't buy Fury's reasoning for not bringing in any of the Avengers that he could, given the nature of the threat, the scale of the threat even, but... Is Gravik's dead? Jesus. I mean, it was purple blood. Hey, Rhodey, I'm so glad you're not dead. Yay, he's not dead either. I'm so happy. Yep. You're also all gonna get radiation poisoning if you don't already have it.
Needed emergency authorization, a bill that designates all off-world born species enemy combatants.
Fucking hell.
We know how to find you. And we will kill every last one of you.
Jesus! What? Did anybody explain to him that some of the scrolls helped? Some of the scrolls were just bystanders? Thor's an alien. See ya, mate. Like... What?
Did you fall in love with me? Or the face that puts you at ease?
I love you, Priscilla.
I mean, initially it was a trap, wasn't it, to seduce him? And I'm sure over time you became more yourself when you started to be fond of him and then fall for him.
Then I guess this is...
Father entered into a deal like that. didn't end so well. Yes, well, let's be sure not to repeat the mistakes of Talos and Fury and leave love and friendship out of this. I will use you, and you will use me, and together we'll make this planet safe for both our people.
It's a big open, all cards on the table. Is that going to be like season 2, or is that going to be a movie? I still think Ritz, I mean, it feels very American. And again, I say that the UK will be like, we're with you in this war, man, yeah. I don't know what that voice was. Like, again, criticism of my own country right there with America. But like, Scrolls helped. So like, there would be like, we're gonna go to war, it's a war against evil Scrolls and like kind of, you know, War on Terror 2.0, and innocent people would inevitably get caught in the crossfire because war is never the right answer, or, you know, almost never, if not just never in this kind of case. Like, but like, Scrolls helped save his life. In the assassination attempt, he would be dead if not for a Scroll. Then when Fury is saying, oh, this is how I stopped the evil Scroll, I used a good Scroll. Technically speaking, the Scrolls no longer have a leader, therefore they are no longer a threat, and if we can give them a leader who is on our side, all they want is a home. Whereas all they did was stop Ritson from destroying humanity, and then they were like, oh, you want to declare war on Scrolls? You do that, you're right. Like, and he did it on every alien life, every form of alien life, despite the fact that multiple forms of alien life have helped protect Earth.
I was relieved too, till I watched that hateful ass speech you made.
What the hell is all this?
This is how the enemy got so good.
What is this?
Before the hit squad you inspired, kill off the Skrulls who still want to help us.
Fucking hell.
Now you got dumbass vigilantes killing innocent humans too.
Oof, so they'd swapped her back and they still killed her, yep.
When they're not getting killed.
How dumb can this president be?
Give me one way this ends. The old Nick Fury would have known that.
This man's a
You
Republican.
truly care about the Skrulls. Get them off my planet.
It's not your planet, mate. You're elected to rule one country.
My hell.
Hell, with this, this peace summit.
Okay,
You're the best diplomat.
so he's trying to get the Skrulls to go back to their home world or to a world that will accept them. When they were home together,
Tell you that I love you.
she should have been able to look like this.
As you are.
Very lovely. It's taken him 20 years, but I feel like Fury has found a version of peace within himself throughout this show somehow, given how terribly most things have gone. No end credit scene? Okay, so I did enjoy this finale. I think the finale is possibly the best episode of the show, or at least tied with the first one. For me, the middle was a little bit, I didn't love the plotline of evil refugees. I didn't love the kind of the fact that Fury had just done nothing to help find them a home, and also didn't tell them, oh yeah, I failed or whatever, and then didn't do anything. But this episode kind of helped address two of those points. Those 2 points even. Firstly being that Fury admitted, yeah, I looked for a home for you and there wasn't one, and then I was just like, oh well, could have a hard conversation or I could just not. Which again I still think was dumb on Fury's part, but I will also give him that he has been very busy for a lot of these years, and also it is a very natural thing to do to kind of think, well yeah, I'll deal with that problem when it becomes a thing. When the Skrulls start shaking me down over this, I'll explain it to them then. Something I didn't love was the way he was like, oh, it's much easier to save people than it is to change their minds. And I'm also like, yeah, but you didn't try to change their minds. Like, I know it's totally different, but I felt it was especially weird coming from, I mean, maybe it was actually more accurate coming from a person of colour, I don't know. But I feel like all the movements of the civil rights and everything, it's different, obviously being like a literal alien, but like, I don't know, I feel like, yeah, it wouldn't be easy, and you know, where things aren't, you haven't exactly changed every mind, there are still ridiculously bigoted people in the world. I'm not saying it would be easy, but I also think that doesn't mean it's not worth trying and not worth doing, especially in this case, once aliens started coming to Earth and saving people. You know, people want selfies with Thor, people love Thor. Thor is known to be an alien. Yes, he can't shapeshift, but he is a known alien. You have other superheroes running around. I feel like if you presented the Skrulls as people on par with that. Like, not all of them safe with everyone, but yes, they are also good aliens, just like this good alien. Like, yeah, the narrative of like the good refugee kind of, it sucks, but like, you could have tried to put them into the general consensus, the general knowledge of being like helpful good people. He should have put a scroll on the Avengers. I mean, they're as useful as Hawkeye, which is not being down on Hawkeye. Hawkeye is a fantastic shot and I love him. But you know, at the end of the day, he's just a talented archer who's like good at combat. So a Skrull who is decent at combat and can shapeshift should have been a member of the Avengers. Now I know that it was a different time in the MCU back then, but you know, like that would have been a way to get the Skrulls into mainstream consciousness and get them accepted and valued. Instead of using them as your covert agents, using them to kill people without trials, and then not actually giving them anything in return. That was obviously going to have some kind of blowback, and yes, Gravik was a very extreme version of that blowback, but it was inevitable, and Fury is too smart to have not seen that coming. I think this episode did a sort of quite a good thing of kind of suggesting that he kind of knew it was coming, but he also just was tired and was dealing with too much and just didn't want to face that he'd failed, maybe. I don't know. So I feel like they kind of answer the question of like, what the fuck has Fury been doing? But I don't love as well that Carol had nothing to do with any of this. Like, she didn't help look for a home. She didn't help them break it to them. She didn't help anything. She's just been flying around the universe. Again, I know that every character can't be in this. And then the other gripe I had is the bad refugee, the evil refugee, the people that come and then, you know, they want to destroy everyone and they want to take everything from everybody. Again, I think obviously in this show we saw that Gravik was kind of pushed to the extreme. Again, it doesn't justify what he did, but the world we live in and the narrative that gets presented by the media and the right-wing media, which is most of the media, of refugees, people coming to take our jobs, they're coming illegally. I don't think we needed stories about bad refugees to like add to that. The thing that they've slightly addressed with that here is that the president's response was very clearly over the top, and now we have I mean, I still don't love it, but an overt thing of war against people who are other, and therefore we feel the sense of injustice of that, and we as the audience, I hope even the right-wing audience, but I don't, are like, whoa, that's a bit much. Like, some of them helped, some of them were good, and we'll kind of view that narrative, that rhetoric, as being wrong. But again, I think just given the world we currently are inhabiting, there were other ways to tell this story, other things they could have done to go about telling this story. Stories don't exist in a bubble. They exist in the real world, and they can help to shape minds, or they can help to reinforce narratives that are already there. I don't think there was any ill intent with this show. I'm not in any way trying to suggest that. This is probably, I'm not an expert in the comics, there's probably a pre-existing storyline in the comics that is this. I just feel like they could have handled it a little bit more delicately in this season. Maybe they're going to do that going into the next season. I'm assuming there's going to be a next season or a movie or something, given that it ended with the American president declaring war on all aliens and people being like the British Prime Minister getting assassinated. Like, I feel like there needs to be a season 2, if not a movie, to deal with all this mess. My other still thing that goes on for the previous episode is, given the nature of this threat, given that Skrulls almost caused the nuclear apocalypse and the end of humanity, why didn't Fury try and call in the Avengers? Any of them? I know from a logistical standpoint, I have to kind of admit that, like, yeah, fair enough, like, they can't afford to pay all of these people and to get all these people in. It would be a bit much if suddenly, like, every single one thing, they're all busy and the cost of it all. I kind of would have preferred if they had just never mentioned bringing in the Avengers and we could all just know, like, yeah, it's fine. Like, realistically, they'd be here, but logistically for the TV show, they can't be. The fact that they kept bringing it up just reinforced how dumb it was, and that Fury's literal only reason for it is this is personal. Okay, maybe if the Avengers had come, there wouldn't be a war declared on Skrulls. I don't know. I did enjoy this episode. I enjoyed the trick played on Gravik. I knew there had to be something up. I knew Fury wasn't just going to be dying of radiation poisoning. I did at one point wonder whether he'd taken in the Avenger DNA somehow or superpowered himself. I love that it was Gaia and that she was able to kind of pull the same trick that Gravik has been playing on everybody else to get one over on them. I'm glad they freed all of the hostages and that Rhodey and Martin Freeman, whose the character's name I can't remember, are alive. I'm very intrigued about the bunker full of people with glowy things. Like, that's how they stayed ahead. Are they like did they just were those people being used in a similar way to the ones that were in the other bunker? What is it? Is it just how many Skrulls there are on the planet? Very intrigued to find out more about this. I think it has left me intrigued for the next season, although I'm also like, the president's message was so freaking short-sighted. Like, especially when it shouldn't take there being obvious good Skrulls for you to not want to blame every single Skrull for the actions of a few, but there literally were obvious good Skrulls. But regardless, I think it's setting up an interesting dilemma going forwards. Fury is kind of like, oh, well, Earth's going to shit for the Skrulls. I'm just gonna go leave now. Admittedly, this time he is going to leave to go and talk to the Kree and to try and, I assume, find the Skrulls a different home. But again, given that the Kree are known for being a quite bloodthirsty, not very tolerant, or, diplomatic species, and they're the ones who initially wiped the Skrulls off of their planet, I don't really know that that's going to be the best alternative either. But I am intrigued for where this story goes next. I definitely feel like the first episode of this season, other than killing Maria, left me like with feeling promise for where the show was going to go. The middle 3 episodes didn't for me. They disappointed me. And then the final episode has left me feeling kind of hopeful about the future. I most especially really want to see Gaia again. Emilia Clarke is fantastic, obviously. Being critical of Gravik and like the plot line, the actor who played Gravik did a fantastic job. He was brilliant. It's more just, I think the show kind of didn't deliver on the writing as it could have done. Gaia as a character is fascinating. I do feel like she's potentially slightly too overpowered. Like, if she's got all of the Avengers abilities, but I'm guessing the reality of it will be that she doesn't have any of them as strongly as the original Avenger does. She has like a version of all of them. So in general, I'm just really excited to explore her more. I think Emilia Clarke is perfect to play this kind of character and to see where she goes. I love Olivia Colman, so the idea that we're going to see more of her in this role is fantastic. And yeah, Fury looked more like Fury by the end of it. He seemed more like himself, and he was finally calling his wife by his actual name and kissing her when she actually looked like herself, so that was a huge plus. On the whole, this has been a bit of a disappointment of a show. It is my least favourite of the Marvel TV shows so far, but it is not a bad TV show, and I do believe my negative opinions may well be the minority, and I hope they are. I never like not being positive about a show. I think there were some pretty glaring errors in this show. Overall, it was still a fun time. It was bookended by 2 pretty solid episodes that weren't perfect, but they had enough in them to get you kind of excited. So I'm intrigued to see where it goes next. A reminder that you can find the unedited version of this reaction on my Patreon, and thank you so much for watching.